In the dark, abandoned hangar of a derelict space station, a small, fragile figure hides among the shadows. A little dragon girl, trembling, whispers words that chill the blood. Mama Dragon is dying out there. One human must decide. Risk everything to face an impossible universe, ancient alien powers, and deadly forces beyond comprehension, or leave her to a fate worse than death. Can courage, intelligence, and sheer human will survive where even the stars themselves seem to turn against them? Join this epic journey through a universe where the impossible becomes reality, and witness humanity prove that no force, alien, ancient, or cosmic, can break their spirit. Watch now, and discover the story of survival, sacrifice, and the unyielding heart of humans in the face of the unimaginable. He found her in the hangar, a tiny figure curled among the wreckage of shattered starcraft, scales glinting like molten copper under the harsh floodlights. The smell of burnt metal and ozone hung thick in the air. Sparks hissed as damaged circuits sparked against the cold floor. She lifted her head slowly, eyes the size of moons, shimmering with fear and something far older, far more intelligent than her years suggested. "Mama Dragon is dying out there," she whispered, her voice trembling yet firm. The words struck him like a pulse of electricity, jolting through his veins. He crouched, letting the hum of the hangar flood his senses, letting the hiss of escaping gases and the low rumble of distant engines fill his mind. Her scales were hot to the touch, vibrating faintly like a heartbeat under his fingertips. Somewhere beyond the hangar, the stars themselves seemed to shiver. The void outside whispered predators older than planets, of empires of bone and fire that had devoured civilizations without thought. He had faced aliens that could bend gravity like it were clay, machines that saw through light, and sentient storms that could erase a fleet in minutes. Yet nothing had prepared him for the helpless determination in her eyes. "Mama Dragon cannot wait," she said, her voice barely audible over the roar of distant engines. He nodded, heart hammering. Humans prove themselves through ingenuity, through courage, through the sheer refusal to bow before the impossible. He sprinted to the cockpit of the nearest fighter, hands sliding over worn controls, feeling every vibration, every hum, every tremor. The ship was damaged, its energy core flickering like a dying star. Sparks rained from the ceiling, and somewhere metal groaned under impossible strain. Yet humans fixed what others abandoned. Humans fought when the universe screamed for surrender. He took a deep breath, inhaling the sterile tang of fuel and ozone, and pressed his palm to the console. The ship shivered, then roared to life. Energy coursed through his veins as he guided it out of the hangar, past falling debris and fire, toward the black maw of space where the enemy waited. The little dragon girl clung to him, her claws digging into his shoulder, scales brushing against his armor, warmth against the chill of the void. "How far is she?" he asked. "Beyond the dead nebula," she said. Her words carried weight. Legends whisper in the corridors of the Galactic Council spoke of that place, a labyrinth of storms, radiation, and ancient ruins where even light itself twisted into monstrous shapes. And yet humans reached farther than fear. Humans tamed what others called untouchable. Humans carved paths through death with nothing but skill, instinct, and stubbornness. He pushed the engines to their limit. Every warning light flared, screaming at him to slow down. Every sensor screamed threats he could barely process. And yet he pressed on. The hangar fell behind, shrinking to a speck among millions of stars. The girl leaned closer, whispering about her mother, about scales of diamond, wings of fire, and hearts that could burn suns into ash. "They need you," she said. He swallowed hard, feeling the weight of a species' survival pressing on his chest. Not his species, not even hers. Humans. Humans survived where others perished. Humans fought when the universe itself turned hostile. He navigated asteroid fields, the ship groaning as colossal rocks scraped its armor. Plasma storms tore at the shields and ancient sentinels, remnants of civilizations long dead, activated with minds cold and cruel. Yet humans could think, adapt, outmaneuver, and survive. The girl whispered, her voice a melody of fear and hope. "Mama Dragon waits for a human touch. Only a human can save her." And in that moment, he understood. It was not just strength that defined humans. It was heart, the courage to charge into the impossible, the intelligence to turn the universe's chaos into an advantage. He pressed forward, engines screaming, as the edge of the dead nebula approached. Stars twisted into impossible geometries. Alien constellations burned through space like molten veins, and shadows moved where no light should exist. Human hands gripped the controls, human instincts guiding them through a ballet of destruction and survival. Human heart blazing like a supernova. The dragon girl clung tighter, scales flashing like living fire. He whispered back, "Hold on, little one. Humans always find a way." And somewhere in the void, the universe waited, hungry and indifferent, while a human pilot and a dragon girl charged headfirst into the impossible. The dead nebula stretched before them, like a wound in the fabric of the universe. Stars bent and shimmered in impossible arcs, casting sickly green and violet glows across the cockpit. He felt it in his bones, the weight of ancient eyes watching, waiting, measuring. His fingers danced over the controls, every movement precise. Every calculation mattered. Asteroids, once massive and silent, now moved as though alive, shifting with predatory intent. Shields flared, straining under the pull of gravitational eddies and radiative storms. Sparks showered the cockpit as the ship groaned, metal screaming in protest. The dragon girl trembled, wings fluttering against her back like delicate flames caught in the wind. "I feel her pain," she whispered, eyes closed, claws gripping his arm. "She is burning. The wound is deep. The enemy, they are ancient." He gritted his teeth. Humans faced ancient powers, yes, and survived. They adapted where logic failed. They solved where others succumbed. "Talk to me," he said, voice steady, though adrenaline thrummed through every nerve. "She is bound to the starstorm," the girl said, voice a hiss against the roar of the nebula. "It twists life, bends time. Humans can survive, but not all." Her words made him clamp tighter around the controls. He did not flinch. Humans survive the impossible every day. Humans fought with intellect, courage, and sheer stubbornness. The nebula's outer edge was a wall of fire and shadow, arcs of lightning that burned like liquid metal. He guided the ship through the tempest, dodging strikes that could vaporize a fleet. Every heartbeat was a calculation, every breath a gamble. The dragon girl pressed closer. "Mama Dragon cannot last. Alone you must." A shock wave tore through the ship, throwing them against the harness. Alarms screamed, red lights flashing like warning beacons of doom. The nebula was alive, not with life as humans knew it, but with thought, calculating, judging, feeding on weakness. Yet humans did not cower. Humans did not yield. Humans turned weakness into strength, fear into strategy, chaos into opportunity. He activated emergency thrusters, dodging another massive surge of energy. Sparks flew, systems fried, and still he pressed forward. Then came the first Guardians. Ancient machines, skeletal constructs of unknown origin, floated through the storm. Their shapes defied geometry, spindly limbs twisting in ways no natural life could sustain. Eyes of molten energy fixed on them. The dragon girl gasped. "They guard her." He felt the pulse of their intent, cold and precise, like the universe itself had sharpened a blade against them. Humans did not retreat from blades. Humans did not yield to cold logic. Humans learned, adapted, and struck back. He fired the ship's plasma cannons, the beams cutting to the twisted metal of the first Guardian. Sparks erupted, metal screamed, and the creature staggered. But it did not fall. "Predictable," he muttered. Humans saw patterns where others saw chaos. Humans solved problems before problems could solve them. He maneuvered the ship like a blade, dodging, weaving, calculating. The girl's wings brushed against his armor as she whispered guidance, sensing the storm in ways no human sensors could. Together, they became more than sum of parts. Human ingenuity, dragon intuition. The Guardians swarmed, a wave of impossibility. But humans thrived in the impossible. He unleashed a burst of ion disruptors, disabling several Guardians in a shower of sparks and molten metal. Others pressed forward, relentless. Then he felt it. A presence, immense, older than the nebula itself. A heart of fire, scales glinting with starlight, beating in time with the universe's pulse. "Mama Dragon," the girl whispered, tears running down scales that glimmered in the dim light of the cockpit. He did not hesitate. Human courage did not wait. Human hearts did not falter. He guided the ship through the storm toward her, weaving between plasma arcs, dodging living asteroids, and outmaneuvering guardians that move with impossible speed. Then the nebula itself seemed to roar, twisting space. Gravity inverted. Time warped. For a heartbeat, everything slowed, and he saw her, Mama Dragon. Immense, her scales a tapestry of molten gold and shadow, wings torn, fire sputtering from gashes across her body. Her eyes, ancient and wise, fixed on him. She hissed, a sound that rattled the ship and shook the girl to her core. Only humans, the girl whispered. Only humans can. The guardian surged again, and the dragon girl's claws dug into his arm. He calculated, acted, and fought. A burst of plasma split the nearest guardian, shattering it into molten fragments. He tilted the ship, dodging a falling shard, and accelerated toward Mama Dragon. Her roar echoed to the nebula, resonating in his bones. Humans did not fight alone. They inspired courage, strength, and determination in those around them. The girl stretched her wings, brushing against his face, her whispers a guide through the storm. She trusts you, and he trusted himself. Humans had survived black holes, alien wars, and planetary annihilation. Humans had turned civilization's engines into weapons, and fear into victory. He skidded the ship through a narrow rift in the nebula, the walls burning, sparks raining, gravity twisting around them. Mama Dragon lowered her massive head, her breath hot and metallic, rolled across the ship as he leapt from controls, tethering himself to the hull. The girl followed, small but fierce, her claws wrapping around him. They landed on Mama Dragon's back. She flinched, pain lacing every movement, yet recognition shone in her eyes. The guardians pressed forward, but humans did not wait for perfection. They acted, adapted, and overcame. He raised a device, a fusion stabilizer, something humans engineered in desperation, and hope, something that could tether life force across species. Mama Dragon trembled, scales cracking, fire sputtering. The girl pressed against the stabilizer, whispering in a language older than stars, guiding the human's hands with precision impossible for his species. Energy flowed, unstable, brilliant, dangerous. Sparks flew, systems overloaded, yet humans thrived on danger. Humans turned risk into opportunity, fear into triumph. The stabilizer hummed, pulsing with power, and Mama Dragon's wounds began to close, scales knitting, fire returning to her lungs. The guardians hesitated, sensing a force beyond their understanding, a force humans wielded effortlessly, the courage to defy the impossible. Mama Dragon roared, a sound that shattered the nebula, twisting space and scattering guardians. The girl clung to him, eyes shining. She is safer now, but the dead nebula was not done. Rifts opened in space, tearing at the fabric of reality. Shadows moved in impossible forms. Ancient powers whispered promises of annihilation. And still humans advanced. Humans survived. Humans conquered the impossible. He looked at the dragon girl, small but fierce, and Mama Dragon, vast and powerful, and he knew the truth. Humans did not rely on raw strength alone. Humans did not bow to fear or time or death. Humans were the spark in the void, the unpredictable variable, the hope against impossibility. The nebula screamed, guardians surged, the stars themselves twisted, but he pressed forward, heart blazing, hand steady, mind calculating. The universe would try to break humans, could unleash horrors beyond imagination, could stretch reality to impossible limits. And still, humans adapted. Humans endured. Humans triumphed. He glanced at the girl, whispered, "We finished this, together." Her wings shimmered. Mama Dragon's gaze burned brighter than a star. And in that moment, in the heart of the dead nebula, humans proved again why the universe had no choice but to respect them. He tightened his grip on the stabilizer, feeling the pulse of energy coursing through Mama Dragon's massive body. The girl's small hands trembled but did not falter, guiding the energy like a maestro conducting a symphony of fire and light. The nebula screamed in response, a chorus of twisted energy, alien storms swirling with intent, trying to tear them apart. He scanned the approaching guardians. They were relentless, relentless as the universe itself. But human ingenuity thrived where inevitability threatened others. The ship's sensors, damaged but functional, flared warnings in rapid succession. Gravity spikes, plasma vortices, spatial distortions. All obstacles designed to break any life form. All challenges meant to prove the futility of hope. Yet humans did not see obstacles. They saw possibilities. He pulled the stabilizer closer to himself, letting the flow of alien energy converge with human technology. Sparks danced across the hull, igniting bursts of plasma that would vaporize any ordinary being. Mama Dragon shuddered, but did not falter. Her eyes, ancient and knowing, locked with his, and in that gaze, a bridge formed between human determination and draconic power. "More are coming!" the girl cried, voice high-pitched but commanding. He saw the ripples in the nebula, shapes folding in impossible geometries, massive guardians emerging from shadows that should not exist. Time seemed to bend. Stars shimmered in loops, disappearing only to reappear in impossible positions. And then he felt it, a pulse of thought, immense, cold, predatory. Not machine, not flesh, but intelligence itself, older than galaxies, watching, judging. Humans did not flinch before the unimaginable. Humans studied it, learned from it, and exploited it. He initiated the ship's emergency thrusters, weaving through plasma arcs and molten debris. Sparks hissed against the hull, and for a moment, he felt pure velocity, pure freedom, like he was riding the spine of the universe itself. Mama Dragon's wings, still weak, flared as if sensing the human's resolve. The girl leaned close, whispering, "She will survive, but only if humans lead. Only if humans fight. Only if you dare." He gritted his teeth. Humans did not wait for permission. Humans did not hope, they acted. He slammed the stabilizer into maximum output. Energy surged, the air around them shimmering with power, and the guardian screamed, a sound like metal tearing in agony. One guardian lunged, its limbs slicing through space as if gravity were liquid. He rolled the ship, using momentum to his advantage, and fired the plasma cannons, striking precise nodes along the creature's exoskeleton. Sparks erupted, metal twisted, and the guardian fell, but another rose in its place. The nebula roared. Lightning ripped through the void, carving paths of fire and shadow. Mama Dragon roared with him, a sound that shattered the boundaries between human and dragon, a resonance that shook the guardians' minds. The girl's small claws dug into his armor. Now is the moment," she shouted, eyes blazing with ancient understanding. He knew what she meant. Humans thrived in moments of impossible pressure. Humans turned the tide when all hope seemed lost. He aligned the stabilizer, focused every ounce of intelligence, every instinct, every calculation. The energy surged into Mama Dragon. Scales cracked, then mended. Fire sputtered, then roared. The guardians recoiled. Some shattered under the combined force of human ingenuity and draconic might. Others retreated into the storm, wary of what humans could wield when pushed to the edge. But the nebula was far from done. Rifts opened. Shadows that should not exist slithered through warped space. The air, or what passed for air in this vacuum of twisted reality, vibrated with malevolent intent. And then came the tremors. Something massive was moving beneath the starstorms, something ancient, something that had slept while civilizations rose and fell like dust in the wind. He tightened his grip, every human instinct screaming. Humans did not wait for luck. They made their own. "Hold on," he yelled to the girl and to Mama Dragon. A colossal figure rose from the heart of the nebula. Scales black as void, wings vast enough to eclipse planets. Eyes like collapsing stars pierced through the ship, through him, through the universe itself. It moved with the certainty of inevitability. And humans, by definition, thrived against inevitability. He activated every thruster, every defensive mechanism, every weapon the ship still had functioning. He knew the fight would require more than courage. It would require intelligence, improvisation, creativity beyond the laws of physics. The dragon girl whispered, guiding him in ancient ways that defied human understanding, aligning the stabilizer with the pulse of the nebula. He could feel it. Mama Dragon's life, the girl's hope, the pulse of human determination, all converging into a singular focus. The colossal beast lunged. Time slowed. Stars bent in impossible arcs. Plasma and shadow collided in a storm that would have obliterated any ordinary vessel. Humans, however, did not falter. Humans turned pressure into advantage, chaos into strategy. He darted the ship through the beast's claws, dodging annihilation by millimeters, weaving like a blade through impossible geometry. The stabilizer flared, energy pulsing outward in arcs of golden light, converging with the ancient power of Mama Dragon. The colossal beast recoiled, a roar that shook the nebula into silence, then surged forward again, testing the human resolve. He did not hesitate. Humans never hesitated in the face of extinction. He calculated, predicted, improvised. Plasma beams struck the beast's core, destabilizing its energy flow. The stabilizer anchored Mama Dragon's life force to the ship, creating a conduit of power unlike anything the universe had ever seen. The dragon girl cried out, a note of pure triumph, as her guidance harmonized with his actions. The colossal beast faltered. Then, impossibly, it shattered, collapsing into the rifts it had come from, leaving only echoes of power behind. The dead nebula trembled and settled, the twisted space slowly righting itself. Mama Dragon's scales gleamed, whole again, fire returning to her lungs. She lowered her massive head, allowing the human and dragon girl to rest on her back. The girl's eyes shone with tears, claws brushing against the human's armor. You did it, humans, you always... He smiled, chest heaving, eyes scanning the remnants of guardians and rifts. Humans survived. Humans fought. Humans endured when no one else could. Humans always find a way, he said. Mama Dragon rumbled in agreement. A deep vibration that shook the ship and the girl, resonating with the pulse of the stars themselves. And for a moment, the universe was still. The nebula, ancient and dangerous, seemed almost to bow in respect. The girl leaned closer. She will recover, because you dared, because humans never surrender, because humans are extraordinary. He laughed, adrenaline and relief mixing in a heady rush. Humans had faced death, impossibility, and ancient forces, and they had not just survived, they had triumphed. Beyond the dead nebula, stars awaited. Civilizations watched from afar. Threats slept in the shadows of galaxies. And humans would meet them all, armed with courage, intelligence, ingenuity, and a stubborn heart that refused to break. He looked at the dragon girl, at Mama Dragon, and knew the truth. Humans were the universe's spark, a force impossible to predict, impossible to crush, impossible to ignore. The girl whispered, "Where will you go now, human?" He smiled, scanning the horizon, the nebula slowly unraveling behind them. Wherever the universe dares to challenge us. The stars stretched before them, endless, infinite, and dangerous. And humans would rise to every challenge. Because humans never yield. Humans never falter. Humans always endure. And somewhere in the void, the dead nebula shivered, not in fear, but in awe. Humans had arrived. And the universe would never be the same again. The dead nebula receded behind them, leaving trails of burned starlight and echoes of shattered guardians. Yet the universe offered no peace. Ahead, the stars were different. Shifting patterns, unnatural alignments, a lattice of light that bent as if reality itself were fraying. He adjusted the ship's trajectory, feeling the weight of something ancient pressing against every sensor, every instinct, every thought. The dragon girl leaned close, claws brushing his shoulder. It watches, still, the one who sleeps beneath the stars. He understood. Humans had faced overwhelming odds before. Black holes, alien fleets, and storms that could strip entire worlds bare. Humans did not survive by luck. They survived by creativity, strategy, and refusing to yield when the universe demanded submission. The ship trembled as an energy surge erupted from the void ahead. Waves of distortion rippled through space, bending light, and threatening to tear the vessel apart. "Brace yourself," he muttered, voice calm despite the adrenaline flooding his veins. The dragon girl's wings fluttered. "It is testing you, humans, your resolve." He gritted his teeth. Humans were tested by the universe constantly, not by chance but by necessity. He pushed the engines to full capacity. Sparks hissed as the ship's system strained. He maneuvered through twisted gravitational eddies, dodging fragments of alien ruins floating like floating tombstones of civilizations long dead. Every heartbeat was a calculation, every breath a gamble, yet humans did not flinch. Humans adapted, overcame, and turned impossible into opportunity. Then he saw it, an ancient citadel floating between stars, black as void, its spires twisting into impossible geometry. The air, or the semblance of air, buzzed with energy. The citadel pulsed as if alive, as if measuring their intent, testing their worth. Mama Dragon hissed softly behind them. The girl's claws dug into his armor. They guard something older than the universe itself, she whispered. He nodded. Humans thrive where others failed. Humans solved problems that seemed insoluble. Humans fought when a universe screamed for surrender. He docked the ship at the edge of the citadel, magnetic clamps locking against the twisted metal. The floor inside shimmered with an alien glow, energy coursing like veins through the walls. Shadows moved in patterns that defied logic. Guardians, alive and intelligent, watched their approach. The girl stepped forward, wings spreading slightly. You must lead. Humans always lead. He nodded, taking the first step into the unknown. Humans were the unpredictable variable the universe never calculated, the spark that ignited in darkness, the force that turned fear into victory. The citadel's corridors shifted as they moved, walls bending, floors twisting. Gravity fluctuated with each step. The girl guided him with whispers, knowledge older than time itself. While humans relied on instinct, intellect, and courage, they reached the chamber at the heart of the citadel. And there it was, an entity, vast and incomprehensible, coiled around a glowing crystal of impossible power. Its eyes were not eyes. They were voids that pierced the mind, testing resolve, weighing courage, measuring heart. It spoke, not in sound, but in thought, crashing against his consciousness. Why do you intrude? Humans did not bow. Humans did not tremble before power. Humans stood, met eyes, or voids, with determination, and responded with action, not words. He raised the stabilizer, linking the energy of Mama Dragon to the crystal. Sparks flew, corridors twisted, and the alien presence recoiled. The girl's voice guided him, every word precise. Humans thrived in chaos, turned danger into solution, and wove victory from the threads of despair. The entity lashed out, tendrils of pure energy slicing through the chamber. He ducked, rolled, and fired the ship's plasma disruptor, striking node of alien circuitry. Sparks cascaded across the floor, illuminating his face in flashes of light. Mama Dragon roared, fire igniting across her scales, harmonizing with human ingenuity. The crystal pulsed, reacting to combined energies. The entity screamed not in sound, but in psychic force. It lashed, twisted, and yet humans endured. Humans adapted. Humans survived. He calculated, predicted, and acted. Every movement precise. Every thought focused. Every ounce of courage a weapon. The girl guided him again. Tapping into currents he could not see, ancient power aligned with human resolve. They struck the crystal with the stabilizer, anchoring it to life, hope, and human ingenuity. The chamber shook. Energy arcs tore across the walls, floors, and ceilings. Guardians screamed as systems overloaded. And then silence. The entity recoiled, then vanished into the folds of time and space. The crystal pulsed gently, no longer a weapon but a beacon. Mama Dragon's wings unfurled fully, scales gleaming brighter than any star. The girl whispered softly, tears running down her scales. You humans, you have done what no other could. You always... He smiled, breathing hard, chest heaving. Humans had faced the impossible, turned into triumph, and survived when logic itself had predicted failure. The citadel began to crumble, reality stabilizing without the entity's influence. He grabbed the girl. Mama Dragon swept him into the air, flying out of the collapsing structure. Outside, the stars glimmered. The nebula behind them stretched like a wound healing. Humans had survived the dead nebula, faced ancient intelligence, and triumphed. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The universe held more dangers, more impossible odds, more ancient powers testing the worth of humanity. He looked at the girl, at Mama Dragon, and whispered, "Wherever the universe dares, humans will go, humans will survive, humans will triumph." She smiled, eyes shining. "Because humans are extraordinary." And for the first time in eons, the universe seemed to pause, as if acknowledging that humans, small but fierce, clever, courageous, and indomitable, were a force to be reckoned with. Ahead lay more stars, more threats, more impossible challenges. The stars stretched endlessly before them, black and cold, but humans did not fear the void. They thrived in it. Mama Dragon soared, her immense wings cleaving the vacuum with power, her scales reflecting starlight in molten brilliance. The dragon girl's small hands rested on his shoulder, guiding him with whispers only the ancient could understand. He tightened his grip on the stabilizer, feeling its energy pulse with a heartbeat of two species, one human, one draconic. Ahead, a rift opened in space, a jagged tear in the fabric of reality. From within, shapes emerged, ships older than recorded history, their hulls blackened with void scars, engines glowing with unnatural energy. The fleet was alive, intelligent, moving with purpose. Humans face impossible odds constantly, yet humans did not retreat. Humans adapted, fought, and conquered where others perished. He ran diagnostics. Shields at 60%. Weapons online, but unstable. Navigation systems flickering. He took a deep breath. Humans survived impossible circumstances because they acted when others hesitated. "Mama, Dragon, we have to reach them," the girl whispered. The colossal dragon behind them rumbled in agreement, wings slicing the void as they surged forward. The fleet recognized no law, but survival. They fired energy beams that tore through space, ripping chunks of stars into nothingness. The ship shuddered under the first volleys. Sparks rained across the cockpit. Systems screamed. Yet humans thrived in adversity. Humans turned desperation into strategy. He maneuvered between the beams, weaving through the devastation with precise calculation, instinct guiding his every move. The dragon girl's wings brushed against his armor. The key is their command nexus. You can reach it. Humans attacked where others would not. Humans struck the heart of danger while calculating every outcome. He adjusted the stabilizer, linking it to Mama Dragon's pulse, forming a column of energy and focus unlike anything the universe had seen. The fleet advanced, ships twisting in impossible formations, fire and shadow moving as one. Yet humans saw patterns. Humans predicted moves, exploited weaknesses, and turned chaos into opportunity. He fired the plasma disruptors, precision shots cracking hulls, sending sparks and molten metal flying into the void. One by one, the smaller ships fell, disintegrating under the combined force of human ingenuity and draconic power. But the command nexus remained a colossal vessel, black as a void, larger than a city, bristling with energy weapons that could annihilate worlds. He felt its intelligence probing, scanning, anticipating. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were courage incarnate. Humans thrived where inevitability failed. He dodged a massive energy blast, rolling the ship with impossible precision. The stabilizer hummed, syncing with Mama Dragon's pulse, and the girl guided his actions like a maestro conducting the symphony of survival. The command nexus unleashed drones, smaller ships swarming in waves, attempting to overwhelm their position. He laughed, adrenaline flooding his veins. Humans did not falter before numbers. Humans outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. He initiated the ship's experimental warp thrusters, a dangerous gambit no other human had ever attempted under such conditions. Sparks flew, energy arced across the hull, systems overloaded, and still he held steady. The warp surge carried him inside the command nexus's formation, dodging energy streams that would have incinerated any ordinary vessel. Inside, the environment shifted, gravity fluctuated wildly. Floors became walls, energy surges twisted perception. Humans thrived in the impossible. Humans turned chaos into advantage. He guided the ship into the heart of the nexus, the stabilizer acting as a key to penetrate its defenses. The girl leaned close. Now human, now is the moment. The stabilizer pulsed, connecting the life force of Mama Dragon with the ship's energy grid. Sparks cascaded. Energy waves exploded outward, disabling enemy weapons, corrupting systems. The command nexus shuddered. Its tendrils of energy faltered, shields collapsing. Mama Dragon roared, wings flaring, fire igniting in sync with human ingenuity. The girl's whispers harmonized with the conduit, every movement precise, every calculation flawless. Humans did not retreat. Humans did not hesitate. Humans attacked when all logic screamed to yield. He targeted the core of the command nexus. Plasma beams struck in perfect synchronization with the stabilizer's pulse, tearing through its defenses. The colossal vessel writhed, tendrils of energy exploding in the void. Systems collapsed, lights flickered, and then silence. The command nexus disintegrated, its intelligence scattered, drifting into void as fragments of ancient code. The remaining fleet fled, a scattering of shadows into the black. He exhaled, feeling the weight lift. Humans had triumphed again, outmatched, outnumbered, and yet undefeated. Mama Dragon landed beside him, massive wings folding, scales gleaming with firelight. The girl's small hands pressed against his armor. You humans always find a way. He smiled, heart still pounding. Humans survived where others failed. Humans adapted, outthought, and conquered when all odds defied reason. The stars ahead were calm, deceptively serene. He knew this victory was only temporary. The universe had more challenges, more ancient powers, more impossible odds. And humans would meet them all, because humans do not bow to the impossible. Humans do not fear the unknown. Humans endure, adapt, and triumph. He looked at the dragon girl and Mama Dragon and whispered, "The universe is vast, dangerous, and ancient, but humans will always rise." She smiled, wings fluttering. Because humans are extraordinary. The stars stretched before them, infinite, full of promise and peril. And humans would meet every threat, conquer every impossible challenge, and survive against all odds. Somewhere, ancient intelligences watched, calculating, observing. Humans had arrived, and the universe would never forget. The void ahead shimmered with unnatural light, a lattice of energy stretching across the stars. He scanned it, senses alert, instincts honed from every impossible encounter humans had ever survived. The girl leaned close, whispering, "This is the crucible, the final test, the one who shapes stars' weights." He nodded. Humans did not flee tests. They conquered them. Humans did not bow to the incomprehensible. They solved, adapted, and overcame. Mama Dragon's massive wings flared, the roar echoing to the ship, shaking the very fabric of the void. The lattice pulsed. From within, shapes emerged, beings older than galaxies, coiled in energy, eyes like collapsing suns, their movements deliberate, calculating, omnipotent. Targets, the girl whispered. But humans can turn the impossible into survival. He gritted his teeth. Humans thrive in moments others call hopeless. Humans turn logic against chaos, fear against opportunity, and adversity into triumph. The first wave struck. Streams of concentrated energy, pulsing with a rhythm that distorted reality itself. He fired the ship's experimental disruptors, beams lancing through the void, fracturing energy tendrils, turning impossible attacks into calculated openings. The dragon girl guided him, her voice a melody of ancient knowledge, aligning human strategy with draconic intuition. Mama Dragon roared again, fire igniting across her scales, resonating with human resolve, amplifying the stabilizer's power into a beacon of life and hope. The beings advanced, enormous and intelligent, probing every tactic, predicting every human move. Humans did not retreat. Humans never underestimated the impossible. Humans adapted, always one step ahead, always calculating, always daring. He initiated the ship's graviton surge, a risky gambit to bend space itself and create a path directly into the heart of the lattice. The void buckled, stars twisting, energy surging like rivers of fire and metal. The colossal beings lashed out, tendrils of pure force slicing through the warped space, but he dodged, calculated, and struck back with the stabilizer's energy, syncing with Mama Dragon's pulse. One by one, the beams shattered the lattice nodes, collapsing segments of impossible energy into harmless fragments. The girl cried out, eyes wide, as the energy aligned perfectly, converging into the ancient core at the center of the lattice. Humans attacked the heart of impossibility. Humans always found a way. He maneuvered the ship closer, risking overload, risking death, risking the void itself, and struck the core with the stabilizer, a surge of pure life force fusing human ingenuity with draconic power. The void ahead shimmered with unnatural light, a lattice of energy stretching across the stars. He scanned it, senses alert, instincts honed from every impossible encounter humans had ever survived. The girl leaned close, whispering, "This is the crucible of final tests, the one who shapes stars' weights." He nodded. Humans did not flee tests. They conquered them. Humans did not bow to the incomprehensible. They solved, adapted, and overcame. Mama Dragon's massive wings flared, the roar echoing through the ship, shaking the very fabric of the void. The lattice pulsed. From within, shapes emerged, beings older than galaxies, coiled in energy, eyes like collapsing suns, their movements deliberate, calculating, omnipotent. Targets, the girl whispered. But humans can turn the impossible into survival. He gritted his teeth. Humans thrived in moments others called hopeless. Humans turned logic against chaos, fear against opportunity, and adversity into triumph. The first wave struck. Streams of concentrated energy, pulsing with a rhythm that distorted reality itself. He fired the ship's experimental disruptors, beams lancing through the void, fracturing energy tendrils, turning impossible attacks into calculated openings. The dragon girl guided him, her voice a melody of ancient knowledge, aligning human strategy with draconic intuition. Mama Dragon roared again, fire igniting across her scales, resonating with human resolve, amplifying the stabilizer's power into a beacon of life and hope. The beings advanced, enormous and intelligent, probing every tactic, predicting every human move. Humans did not retreat. Humans never underestimated the impossible. Humans adapted, always one step ahead, always calculating, always daring. He initiated the ship's graviton surge, a risky gambit to bend space itself and create a path directly into the heart of the lattice. The void buckled, stars twisting, energy surging like rivers of fire and metal. The colossal beings lashed out, tendrils of pure force slicing through the warp space, but he dodged, calculated, and struck back with the stabilizer's energy, syncing with Mama Dragon's pulse. One by one, the beams shattered the lattice nodes, collapsing segments of impossible energy into harmless fragments. The girl cried out, eyes wide, as the energy aligned perfectly, converging into the ancient core at the center of the lattice. Humans attacked the heart of impossibility. Humans always found a way. He maneuvered the ship closer, risking overload, risking death, risking the void itself, and struck the core with a stabilizer, a surge of pure life force fusing human ingenuity with draconic power. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, infinite and indifferent. Yet for the first time in eons, the void seemed almost alive. Humans had traversed the dead nebula, faced ancient intelligences, fought fleets older than recorded history, and survived against beings whose power defied comprehension. He glanced at the dragon girl, perched on his shoulder, eyes shimmering with tears and scales that caught the starlight like molten glass. Mama Dragon soared beside them, wings cutting the void like blades of fire, eyes ancient, wise, and full of something approaching reverence. The universe had tested them at every turn. It had hurled the impossible, the unimaginable, and the inevitable, and yet humans had endured. He exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of every battle, every calculation, every narrow escape he had survived. "They are gone for now," the girl whispered. He nodded. Humans did not fight for themselves alone. Humans fought for hope, for life, for the future. Humans carried the spark of possibility in the face of annihilation. Mama Dragon lowered her massive head, allowing the human and dragon girl to climb onto her back. Her wings spread, catching the light of distant stars, and they rose into the expanse together. Beyond the nebula, new stars beckoned, uncharted systems full of potential, of danger, of discovery. He looked back at the remnants of the dead nebula, at the shattered fleets and the echoes of ancient intelligences. Humans had not only survived, they had reshaped the battle, turning the impossible into victory. The dragon girl rested against him, tiny hands clutching his armor. Humans, you are extraordinary. He smiled, a weary but resolute smile. Humans thrive where others failed, survive when others perished, and triumph when all hope seemed lost. And yet, this was not the end. The universe always had more tests. More ancient powers slept beyond the horizon. More alien civilizations waited in shadowed systems. More impossible odds awaited. But humans did not fear. Humans never did. He adjusted the stabilizer, feeling its energy pulse in harmony with Mama Dragon's heartbeat. It had become more than a device. It was a symbol, a bridge between species, a testament to human ingenuity, and a key to survival in a universe designed to crush life. Ahead, a system of blue and gold stars shimmered, planets circling like clockwork in perfect alignment. He guided Mama Dragon toward the nearest planet, scanning for life signs. Sensors picked up faint signals, small settlements, scattered outposts, a civilization untouched by the ancient forces they had faced. Humans never abandoned hope, never left potential unprotected. Humans reached farther than logic dictated, saw patterns others could not, and acted where impossibility prevailed. The dragon girl leaned close. Will they accept us? He shook his head gently. It does not matter. Humans will show them the way. Humans survive. Humans endure. Humans lead. The planet grew larger as they descended, forests stretching like waves, oceans glittering with reflected starlight. Mama Dragon landed, her massive claws pressing into the soft earth. Trees shivered in her wake. Birds of alien design took flight, sensing the presence of life older than the planet itself. The human climbed down, stabilizer in hand, feeling every vibration of the alien soil beneath his boots. Humans had conquered space not by brute force alone, but by curiosity, by intelligence, and by the stubborn refusal to accept defeat. The dragon girl fluttered beside him, wings catching sunlight, eyes wide with wonder. Humans, they are unstoppable. He chuckled softly. Humans were not unstoppable. They were resilient, daring, clever, and courageous. And that was more than enough. Mama Dragon rumbled, a deep vibration that resonated through the planet, and the girl leaned against her mother, relief evident in every movement. He looked to the horizon. The stars beyond promised challenges, yes, but also opportunity, knowledge, and growth. Humans did not merely survive, they thrived. Humans turned danger into learning, impossibility into strategy, fear into courage. He allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. The dead nebula, the ancient fleets, the impossible lattices of energy, they had all been tests. Crucibles forged to crush life, yet humans had emerged stronger, wiser, more capable. And humans would continue to emerge stronger every time. The girl whispered, her voice soft but filled with awe. Humans, you do not just fight, you change everything. He nodded, feeling the truth of her words resonate deep within. Humans were catalysts, sparks that ignited change, lights that refused to be extinguished. Mama Dragon unfurled her wings once more. Your species, human, has potential beyond comprehension, the girl said. They will survive and flourish. He smiled at the girl, at Mama Dragon, at the alien landscape beneath them. Humans did not wait for destiny. They forged it. Humans did not yield to the impossible. They adapted, overcame, and conquered. The planet below promised safety, for now, but humans did not rest forever. Humans explored, learned, and pushed further. Humans thrived in the vast unknown. He turned to the horizon. Stars stretched endlessly. Systems waited to be charted. Dangers loomed and possibilities shimmered. Humans would face them all. Humans would survive them all. Humans would master them all. The dragon girl perched on his shoulder, tiny but resolute, looking up at the sky. Will you go further? He nodded firmly. We always go further. Humans never stop. Humans never surrender. Humans endure. Mama Dragon rumbled, wings rising, ready to soar again, carrying them both toward the unknown. And humans did not just endure. They thrived in the face of impossible odds. They inspired allies, tamed the wild of space, and turned impossible challenges into victories. The universe was vast, ancient, and full of threats, yet humans had proven time and again that they were a species that could never be ignored. As the sun of the alien planet rose, bathing the landscape in golden light, he took a moment to reflect on everything they had faced. The dead nebula, the ancient fleets, the incomprehensible entities. They had tested every fiber of his being, every ounce of his courage, every scrap of human ingenuity. Yet humans had triumphed. He knew the universe would continue to test them. It would hurl the impossible, the incomprehensible, the unimaginable, and humans would continue to rise. The dragon girl's eyes shone. Humans, truly extraordinary. He chuckled, feeling both relief and exhilaration. Humans were small in the grand scheme of the cosmos, yet in every moment of danger, every encounter with the impossible, humans had proven that spirit, courage, and intellect were weapons more powerful than any alien fleet or ancient intelligence. He looked to the horizon. Endless possibilities, endless stars, infinite challenges. Humans would rise to meet them. Humans would endure. Humans would triumph. Mama Dragon spread her wings once more, ready to carry them back into the void, to face the next unknown. He knew the universe would continue to test them. It would hurl the impossible, the incomprehensible, the unimaginable, and humans would continue to rise. The dragon girl's eyes shone. Humans, truly extraordinary. He chuckled, feeling both relief and exhilaration. Humans were small in the grand scheme of the cosmos, yet in every moment of danger, every encounter with the impossible, humans had proven that spirit, courage, and intellect were weapons more powerful than any alien fleet or ancient intelligence. He looked to the horizon. Endless possibilities, endless stars, infinite challenges. Humans would rise to meet them. Humans would endure. Humans would triumph. Mama Dragon spread her wings once more, ready to carry them back into the void, to face the next unknown. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of victory and the promise of the future. The dragon girl whispered softly, "Humans will continue." He nodded, voice steady, full of resolve. Yes, humans will continue. Humans will rise. Humans will endure. Humans will always find a way. And with that, Mama Dragon launched into the sky, carrying them both toward the stars. The universe stretched before them, infinite, dangerous, and full of wonder. And humans, unyielding, courageous, ingenious, would face it all. Because humanity was not merely alive. Humanity was unstoppable. The stars waited, ancient and indifferent. Humans did not wait for fate. Humans forged their own path. The universe was theirs to explore, to challenge, to conquer. And somewhere deep in the shadows of distant galaxies, ancient eyes watched. And for the first time, they understood that humans were a force the universe could never suppress. Humans had arrived, and humanity's story was only beginning.